The blue
Aloha.
bottle of gold.
Yes, we go. We've got our goal. We got the gold. Why do you think the people who win the Olympics, the top position is gold? For some reason.
Gold's been inside of us the whole time.
It is. It is. So this is Urotherapy training course number 27, the last of the series, part 4. And so we're going to do what we normally do. We're going to do mini announcements, and then we'll do a communion and go into class. So I just scheduled the upcoming World Urine Therapy Conference calls. Number 44, number 45, and 46 is going to be coming up on July. I got to know what month of the year it is. July 26th, August the 9th, and August the 23rd. 9 o'clock Hawaii time. World UT 44, 45, 45, 46. I might have to go to 47 just to honor the new president. All right. So that's coming up. Also, if anybody wants to take basic beginners 101 urine therapy classes for guys that just heard about it, guys that knew about it, or guys that want to be able to talk to the newbies so they can stretch their mind to take in a new idea and give this a try. So that's all the announcements I have. I'm sure there's a lot more, but we're going to quit right there. This is your golden opportunity, Brother Robert, to offer a prayer, to offer what's in your heart. It could be something you learned as a nursery rhyme as a kid. It was anything. Well, go ahead. No pressure. Just think of this. Think of this and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Bless this moment. Bless us. Bless you. Bless me. Bless this gold within, this gold without, this golden river that connects us and the world of everyone who wants to swim and drink in the golden river. And through love, as life, this moment is for us. This moment is for everyone. As we increase, we all increase. And I send love, I ask for love in this water for you, for me, and for everyone watching this. And for everyone who's not watching this, I ask for love and hold more love in my water and swim in the ocean of life. Amen.
Amen. Cheers. Another good 30-minute old Oren. Okay, so we're going to jump into, we're still into the career version of this class, how to turn your passion and your fire and your excitement about urine therapy into a career. And before we do that, I'm going to ask our one and only honorable student here. I'm not going to ask you to go through the Shivamba wisdom charts. We've already played that one out. So here's an easier question for you. There's 24 topical protocols. Name 10 of them.
Name 10 topical protocols.
For urine therapy practice.
For like burns, rashes, things like that, or like hands, eyes, face, hair, ears, nose, 5
more.
Foot bath, feet,
foot soak.
I mean, it's like all intuitive, but like saying things, I don't like details. Compressions.
Up the backside. Up the bum.
Like enemas.
Enemas.
Yeah, enemas. The entire body, navel.
And when you do nothing but drink it all day, it's called
Looping,
looping or a fast
sip looping, or what?
or a urine fast.
Oh, urine fast. Oh yeah, yeah. Just if you're only drinking that all day.
That's
Yeah.
all you're doing. You're not taking on any other fluids, nothing solid. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah, you could loop and eat and do whatever you like throughout the day, but Orin fast is just when you're just looping and just drinking Orin.
Okay, so you came up to at least 11, maybe 12 just now. Not bad. What are we missing here? Um, tongue scraping,
Topical. Oh yeah, tongue scraping, gargling, like rinsing your
nebulizer.
mouth, nebulizer.
Okay.
I mean, I said I don't know if specifics, but like ear, like rinse and nose drinking and neti pot, nasal wash, um, eyes, goggle, eye bath,
Or eye cup. Yep.
eye cup, goggles.
What can you do with the whole body, all the skin area?
Just like wash and compression, massaging.
Yes. Okay. What do you put over an organ with either a washcloth or a full towel? What's that called? If you lay it over an area like the liver, it needs some healing. Lungs.
Yeah, that's not. Is that now they compress?
That is a
Compress.
compress. That is a
Mhm.
yeah, you did mention that. Otherwise, it's full body wrap.
Oh, full yeah, full body wrap or a compress in the specific area,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. Excellent.
Like a naval compress you could do over, right?
You could
Little
you could do it.
little
Yep.
naval soak and compress at the
Hmm.
same time. Mhm.
Yep. Um, what's some good ways to cover and store your orin?
Uh,
And why?
mason jars is a great way, glass, and having it open with like cheesecloth or something loose, even like a loose lid on top, um, just so nothing gets in it. Though at the same time, it's not going to affect it. Uh, Mentioned in the Damar Tantra, I mean, it could be glass, it could be clay, it could be copper, brass, gold, silver, bamboo, coconut shells. To me, it seems like many organic matters is the most holistic
Yep.
way in deepening your connection with what your hands even, but obviously if you want more.
Won't last long. It won't last long, but you can carry it
Yeah,
around.
it won't last long. Yeah, it won't last long. It's not large. Um, yeah, and then your what you mentioned, your own journey with it is like the collapsible cups and the to-go cups and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
think that's a great modern tech for
Hmm.
this.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, that said, what is the advantages? Let me ask you, and then we'll get into this. What are the advantages of drinking or snorting orin up the nose versus drinking it with your mouth?
Mm.
What's the difference?
In non-technical terms, I may not articulate as well, but because it's two different passages, so when
Hmm.
you're just drinking, it's going to go down your throat, and when you're drinking or even just snorting, it's just going to go through up this was it nasal passage, but through like your cranium or like up here, and it's going to get different mucus and different passages through your third eye, near your third eye, your glands, pineal
Yep.
gland, and it's just gonna go through your around this way rather than just straight down, and it's gonna get a lot more mucus and other things that may be blocking us that we're unaware of.
Hmm.
Um, and
Excellent.
accessibility and exposure to our organ.
Okay, so excellent. It's going to rehydrate the 5 sinus cavities. It'll cross the blood-brain barrier, and you
Mm.
get your cleaned out third eye pineal gland.
Hmm.
That's amazing. It's amazing. So, any questions before we go into the rest of the class?
Any questions? It's funny when you ask me like asking the specific details, but it is very intuitive. The more we talk about it and the more I'm exploring it specifically, again, this has been a few years into it, but not really like the more we like brainstorm and just like play with it and experiment and actually practice,
Yep.
it just all intuitively comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really as much of a question, but more of like a, I guess, acknowledgement of like, you know, like a you your famous pop quizzes, your gold quizzes, the thinking mind. I'm like, what the heck? We just talked about it, but I'm not thinking of anything. But it comes out easily, and it's very playful because there's so many practices and uses. It's literally can just replace anything we're normally doing and even more.
Good, good. So yeah, you're right on. So your intuition is going to either bring to your attention what we've learned, or you'll just develop a new way to deliver these nutrients into the body.
Mm-hmm. Actually, here's a one question.
Okay.
We were just talking about the nasal nose drinking and through our pineal gland and the sinus cavities. Has anyone with noting like comparison of their journey or with intention or for yourself, the more doing it very specifically and consistently, see I guess a difference or results of like deepening their intuition or pineal gland, like decalcifying, of like actually being aware of results? I'm sure everyone who is consuming Orin and practicing, you know, communing with our water over time, it's going to naturally happen. But I am curious because if we're not putting intention to it, we just may not be aware of all the subtle things. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious if someone was like, I'm going to deepen my and like increase strength in my intuition, and I really want to see the decalcification. And maybe this is something I'm going to put more intent to as well, because that has something beyond just Orin. That this is definitely an intention of mine. But I'm
Well,
curious if someone
there's
has.
something for you. There's something in this for you, obviously. And I would ask the nose drinking guru, Samuel Cohen, who's been at it for like 10 years. Why do you keep drinking Orin up the nose? You do it locally, you do it in your house, you do it publicly. What are you getting from it other than, you know, a nice hydrated nose? I mean, what is it? What benefits have you seen? It's a fair question, right? Ask the people who've been doing it forever, for years. Our Dr. Rajshak Malhotra, who's out in India, he says, yeah, drink it up the nose, but he never says what results he's had. So it's a great question to pose in the social media groups.
Okay.
Because what I've learned from years ago when I started doing this on the grand global scale is you can get the material you need for research as well as to put together a book if you ask the right questions to the community. They'll fill in the blank for you, and before you realize, oh, really, I got the answer to the nose drinking thing. I found out how people handle urine therapy objections, and you know, this is enough material. Get enough material for another book. Who knows? I've had enough book writing on urine, but who knows? So yeah, these are great questions. I'd ask Sam.
Cool. And
Yeah. I'd ask the guys who's well skilled who've been doing it for years. Because my use has been hit or miss. It's when I feel like, okay, this is a situation. I know how to reply and respond to it. I'll drink it up the nose. If my energy goes down, all of a sudden I think about it instead of build it into everyday use.
okay.
And that's going to make the difference between feeling some effects and getting the wow factor. That way people will know for sure, for sure. Wow, this really does open your third eye. I'm on it, right? We're pitching P. We're not pitching ayahuasca. Okay.
Hey, I've heard, you know, now this is reminding me, who was it? I've heard from someone, I think, you know, like the residue, the sediment, like when, especially when our urine dries, you know, like all the sediment, people, I don't know, referred it to like ormus before.
Almost
I'm not
gold.
sure exactly, but like the dried sediment, almost like the crystals, the crystalline sediment after dried urine, especially aged. I've heard
Mhm,
people sniff that
mhm,
even
mhm.
and have close to psychedelic experiences.
Well, I
The
wouldn't
things
doubt it.
that our own body could do.
Dried, aged.
Haven't engaged in myself.
Have you tried it?
No, not myself. Though this conversation is bringing back some memories of early on when I was watching people and reading people and some young people who are into the Orin that were a little more advanced than me and been doing it for years
Mhm.
mentioned it before, and I was like, that's quite fascinating.
Yeah,
But beyond that, I haven't heard it.
I know it's got all the minerals and the nutrients, the stem cells, and blah, 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 and the gold molecule. It might have not only the ormus alchemical, you know, ability, it might contain DMT. Next thing you know,
Mhm.
you're really having a great time.
Tripping on their own stuff.
Shipping on our own water, hanging out at the creek. Okay. All right. So here's a question: whether you charge or not to charge. Why would you want to charge for teaching people, educating people, inspiring people, motivating people in the healing art of Shivambu therapy? Why would we want to do that?
Why?
Yeah.
I would say for an energetic exchange and communion in that regards, law of circulation.
Mhm.
And we're in a monetary society, and whether that's good or bad, money is a flow energy here, and to honor oneself of the value, giving physical energy value to something and validating that someone's saying yes to this and wants to also say yes to these teachings in their life. So I think that's why we would charge. So there's a respect and
Valuable.
honor for the teachings and value. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is what I had to weigh out, and this is what other people are weighing out, because you have those people who are arguing that urine is free. Why would you want to charge for educating people? And I said, that part, you're right. Urine is free, but all the time it takes to do the research, the education, the studies, the practice, the experience, and to put together content after content, that's valuable. And people go to study these things because they want to learn it a lot quicker. And some people don't want to read the books. Some people don't want to do the audios, and taking a class and paying for it is worth it to them. Plus you get to hang out with the teacher. So that's what that chapter is
Hmm.
about. That's what the chapter is about. People charge or don't charge. What's important is that you have the option, if you're so fired up about it and you want to turn this into a career or monetize it, it's already proven it can be done successfully.
Mm.
You know, people said
And
the
I think
same.
there's always discernment, right?
There's always discernment,
Are you?
whether you want to do it or not. Um, Now, I've been a breath teacher for years. Imagine people have an argument about that. Well, breathing is free. Yeah, but if you don't know how to breathe and someone can teach you and guide you in the breath and help you along with your healing and your liberation, wouldn't that be valuable? Touch is free. Why do people charge for massage?
Yeah. Yoga. Why that could be a personal practice. You have a body, you can move for free.
Yeah,
Why?
it's all the same insanity. So you just, work with their minds the best you can and give them some substance of why you do what you do and how many that people have been benefited, and maybe they never thought about it before. Who knows? Anyway, so that's what that chapter is about. I'll read a little bit here. Giving away a number of sessions for free gives you an opportunity to practice generosity, as well as find out if you're really motivated by money or for the joy of providing a service. You can also learn how well you know about the subject, as well as your ability to coach and guide people. Marketing is basic. Get the word out about who you are and what you have to offer online, offline, and in person. If you decide to go full tilt boogie, then you bring in the media, social media, and you can really get your word out and your name out and everything you want to offer the world. Now, being on social media, you're not limited to your local community. That's one thing that I really love about social media. It actually does have some good points to it. For all the people who are trying to go, get off social media. It's full of darkness and trickery and da 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 da. I'm going, yeah, but it's got a wealth of information and ways to connect that we never could connect before the 1990s. So you have to weigh it all out.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have known Shivambu if it wasn't for maybe there's always a way, but at the moment, how I experience that my life, I'm here because of the internet, specifically a hub called Instagram, which, controversy on that, but that's how I met many people doing amazing, weird, cool, alternative things, and it piqued my curiosity, and it led me into many things, and it right now. So I get that.
And just gave me another idea. Thank you very much. You know how people using the word, they use all these computer terms which we didn't use before 1990s. And one is, did you get the download or did you get the upload? The newest thing that's been out for the last 10 years is hack, the word hack. Did you get the new health hack? Did you get the new technology hack? And if you start teaching people how to tap into higher states of consciousness, you could say, did you get the consciousness hack? It's going around right now. You should check it out. Anyway, so that's what the chapter's about. To charge or not to charge, that's up to each and every one of us. If nothing else, it can be a part-time gig.
To me, it's about integrity first. Like I like what you said, like whether we could do both, charge and not charge, and that's how I've been. It's funny. This is very parallel of how I've been showing up, like in general, with my creative outlets. As you saw some of my artwork recently, the last few years, I've undertaken. I trained under a spiritual-based coaching program institute as well. I got certified as a life coach, but I didn't endeavor in that full time as well. And I don't really, I'm engaging, I'm calibrating of how I feel into any of those roles and how that shows up. But first and foremost, I'm engaging in any of this stuff because of my own growth, my own integrity. And now it's like discernment of like maybe it can be offered as a service to be energetic or money exchange with some clients, with some people. And then maybe it could be reduced or free for some people. Depends. It's all, it all varies. It doesn't have to be a black and white. At least that's how I've been seeing and kind of taking notes from many teachers of all sorts of modalities. And the more I think of it on energy terms and integrity, I can relax more into that rather than like, oh, I'm charging for spiritual practices or consulting, and who am I? I'm not a coach or like a like way above someone. But this is like my experience. So this is also involved in that, and that's why I'm bringing it up. And it's been really awesome seeing how you, again, your service and how you show up. So this is interesting that you have this in this here in this teaching in this class.
Well, look at the name of the book. Teachers and therapists.
Oh, am I being a teacher? Oh,
How does that happen?
oh, is that my path?
Well, what do you say? That's what's important. So,
yeah.
it's a bump up in you. It's a bump up in who you've seen yourself as. It's a bump up in moving into a position of, it's a form of service that's put you in a unique position because you pay more attention to people. You bring more to people. You engage more with people. Instead of, one-on-one client, you're reaching a lot more people, even though it is one-on-one. And a teacher is also someone who is a facilitator in human growth and human coaching and helping people to unravel their mysteries inside themselves.
A witness.
You'll
A
know,
witness.
there's one thing you'll notice. When you drink a lot of this gold water, you tend to speak from the depths of your emotions and the depths of your soul. So this water runs deep, not only through our veins, but also through our body of emotions. And so when you're living and operating, I've had great talks with people about this, soul to soul talks. Well, how is you're deep? You're so deep all the time. I said, once you go down to the depth of your emotions and your soul, that's your default setting. And you bring it out in people. Before they realize is they're telling you things they never told anybody, or they're getting insights. And all you're doing is living from the core of who you are and telling your truth, and watch people, boom, start transferring. They go, what's going on here? We're just talking. That's it.
Yeah.
It's always a great surprise. They go, I thought I figured out who you were, but I'm really not sure now. All right, any questions about anything, about the career, about promoting, about being a therapist, about the suggestion protocols, the history, the ingredients, anything up until this part of the class? This is the easiest and most powerful form of self-health care on the planet. And it's free and anybody can use it. However, what we've had to do is remind people to not make it so freaking complicated. That's
what are your go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
The guy love the internet. What are you beyond? I know you on a couple fronts, but mainly Urotherapy is the lens I met you under originally, and as our relationship, I'm seeing all the facets of yourself as well in layers. As a someone in service, facilitator, curious, as teacher and friend, what are the other layers? I know you're a body worker. You do massage as well. You said many years of footwork and body work.
And breath.
Right now, what are the different facets? I'm curious to learn, from example, what are you engaging with? I know you do facilitation like classes like this on Urotherapy, teacher for Urotherapy, body work. I'm curious if there's any other things where like, oh wow, you do all this other stuff too, or not. I'm just curious of how do you receive energy in this world beyond just classes like this?
How do I receive
as a multidimensional being?
I would say what I need to know, I'm given the knowing when I need to know it. And it's the same with the inspiration. What I draw on is 45 years of studying and gathering and learning and direct experiences of everything I'm teaching now. And you're going to find that happen to you. all the people who inspired me, who are my mentors and teachers and guides. That's the way I paint life, or like a canvas. And whoever you're working with, you can draw in any number of modalities without having it set up a certain way. Because I might meet somebody who comes over for a foot massage. Before we realize it, we're processing out all their old patterns and thoughts. And I mean, I never know where a session's going to go until we start talking. And some of my best work has been done in silence. Because a lot of times the client needs to go down deeper and deeper and deeper to access things that they need to examine and release. And talking interferes with that. Because they're all, they're in their head, they're all talking up here, and all the actions inside their heart and in their body. But I have been bringing out more subject matter. Justin interviewed me a couple months ago about physical immortality. And so I like to talk about the things that I studied that have been empowered me and impressed me the most. Like, what are the inhibitors to the human mind? What are those things that cause people to be blocked in their life? What is the answer? How do you manifest? How can you draw in wealth and money and prosperity mentally and spiritually to change the way we relate to money now? So you're no longer into struggle, compromise, or poverty. So all these things that I teach are things I'm constantly relearning. Intimacy and relationships. How to see the presence of love in God 24/7. How can you live a life without struggle, without suffering, without all the things and the patterns you've been hauling your whole life? I'm here to help, liberate people. Why not have fun with it? So it's harder to find yourself when you have unlimited capabilities. But there are things that you have in your toolkit and in your barrage of modalities that you can use at any time. Did that make any sense or clarify anything?
Yeah. I think there's many ways that could have been answered, and that's how that landed. Yeah, that was great.
It's a God thing. My life is a God thing. Every morning, every night, that runs parallel to what I'm working on, thinking on. To feel that there's love here, to feel there's a divine presence with you. So whatever you're walking into and whatever arises at any one moment, you know that you can walk through it and it won't kill you and you're absolutely safe. My life's work has been your life's work to navigate through your mind. All the things that we're still carrying around that don't matter anymore. Blah, 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 blah. So we're doing our best to clear the field of landmines in the mind so we can come out and play more. And wouldn't that be a great service to help people to rekindle their curiosity and playful nature?
Sign me up.
You signed up, yeah. Ever heard of a guy who's a comedian named Swami Beyondananda?
No.
He's been to Boulder a couple times. That's his stage name. His real name is Steve Behrman. He's from Austin, Texas. And he uses comedy to teach enlightenment. And if you ever look up some of his YouTubes or some of his comedy routines, he's written a couple of books. And he basically makes people laugh by teaching them cosmic jokes. And sometimes he puts on a Swami hat, like a Swami with a turban and something on the top. And sometimes he wears different outfits, a true artist and a true comedian. And sometimes he goes into character. Well, all of a sudden you'll be talking in Indian language and you're not ready. You're not ready. All of a sudden you're talking to a guy who sounds like he just came from South India. So that's him, Swami Beyondananda. Somebody
What's
asked
name?
His real name, his birth name?
Yeah,
To
look him up.
Steve Behrman. I'd have to look him up on my phone. But if you Google Swami Beyondananda, Somebody asked him when Swami, there's two quotes from Swami Beyondananda. This won't, it'll be paraphrased. Swami, how will it end? The world's in a tough time now, right now. How's it going to end? He says, oh, my friends, don't worry about it. The good guys win. Bada boom. The other thing, somebody asked him, what is the key to the universe? What is the key to unravel the universe, the mystery of life? He says, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is there is no key to the universe. The good news is it's been left unlocked. All right, so that's Swami Beyondananda. I had a chance to meet with him and his wife, Trudy, when they came into Boulder about 10, 12 years ago. And he's been doing this comedy routine for 35, 40 something years. And while we're sitting around eating and talking to him, he's recording his ideas. You know, he's talking to us, but he's channeling on another level. And every time he gets a new routine, he stops and he records it. He tapes it. Going, this guy's an artist. He ain't going to quit anytime soon.
Wow.
So he's a living legend in my book. All right, we're going to chapter 18. We've got 3 hours. So we start 9 to 10, 9 to 10 to 11 to 12. All right, so at 10:30, we'll take a break. Chapter 18, I love this chapter because in this chapter is other Shivambu educators, therapists, writers, and advocates that I've either had the joy of interviewing or meeting in person, or I've just really loved their work and their teachings and how they've really helped people. So we'll start off with Ma Davy. She lives out in France. We did an interview. I might still have it on YouTube about 5-6 years ago. And she's just a joyous being. She used to write a lot. Now she's singing a lot. She's got one of those angelic voices. And she's a unique person. I might have mentioned her. When she takes showers or baths, all she does is use Orin and then walks away and lets it dry. She won't let any city water touch her. That was quite an influence on me. Wow, that's all you need. Rub it on, shake, blah, 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 and then step outside, dry, and go on with your day. And you can see she's young and she's beautiful. That's her, Ma Davy. So here's a little quote from her just to get a feel for what she's all about. Shiva Kalpa, ancient holy science bestowed by god Shiva to his consort goddess Parvati. The ensemble of practices and techniques kept a secret only to be practiced by the seeker of truth, health, divinity, ultimately physical immortality. Since UT is often misunderstood by common beings, Lord Shiva expressively recommended that it was not for the ignorant and therefore keeping it a secret. Nevertheless, one can find its roots in most cultures and ancient traditions, healing recipes and rituals as well. UT is a wonderful thing, and there is such a perfection in human beings, although UT is forgotten or unwritten by the majority of the world. And she told me that in 2018. A lot has changed since then. UT is a wisdom and a tantra yogic sadhana or practice. You can find the numerous qualities of it will bestow on the practitioner in the Dhamar Tantra. Divine blessings, love and light to all. Ma Davy. So if you ever want to Google her, I don't know what she's doing these days, but she's been recording and singing music. Harry Matadine. I've invited him to come to Africa. I'm hoping he can make some time. He brought to the world the writings and the books on aged urine. He decided he was the guy. So he wrote it, and a lot of people have moved from fresh to evolving because of his writings. He's written probably 6 or 7 other books that are health-related books. And he's been traveling. He's hung out with Samuel out in Thailand and Eric, And, you know, he goes to different countries and he's back home. He might be with his partner. And I love talking to him because he sounds like one of the Beatles. He's got one of those cute English accents, and you just love talking to Harry.
Nice.
And one thing I really bowed to Harry, he's put himself out there in a way that few people were able to do. I haven't even been able to do this. He got on the survival show in England. Ever seen that reality TV show in America?
Yeah, a long time ago.
All right, they take people out in the wilderness, out in the most wild areas, and they have to work as a team and they have to survive, and they might be in competition with other teams. Well, he was on a survival show in England, and he comes walking into the scene with a long white robe on, carrying 2 jars of Orin. And then he sit him down in front of this 6 or 7 or 8 people who are there for the survival show. And he starts talking about urine therapy. And everybody takes out a little cup. He says, now you got your fresh urine that you collected last night. We're going to all look at it and try it. So despite people were, you know, making faces, most people were willing to try it on camera. And then he says, if you really want to know the power of all power, and he pulls out a whole quart of aged urine. He says, this is the deal. This is the real thing. So on camera, he's drinking his aged urine, and you can see all their faces cringing. And but that was Harry. He's been on some of the tabloids in UK, kind of like the National Enquirer in the United States. He's been on the tabloids, and you know, a lot of these spin it like, oh, he's crazy, he's in the cult. But every time they did an article on him, it really helped the movement. The same with me. Every time they did an article and they decided to demonize it, it helped the movement. So he was willing to, you know, play the public fool, and he pulled it off really well. So that's Harry. I'll read a sentence or two from Harry. I hope aged Orin rewards you with optimal health and vitality, vigor, and a gratitude for life. We are blessed indeed with our own personal pharmacy and its power. Thousands of years from now, this knowledge of aged Orin will be normal. It will be mainstream and used by everybody. But until then, you, my friend, are a pioneer, and I salute you. Thank you for carrying the torch toward and showing others the way. Those who use Orin therapy and aged Orin will always be standing on the right side of history. Now, I already mentioned Monica Shute. Her article goes back to chapter 7. She was our poster child for Orin. I told you about her. She just showed up in Southeast Asia. People thought she disappeared. Now, George Johnson, the reason I put him in his article in there, because George Johnson was the one who invented and inspired me to do goggles. So even teachers have teachers. And so he was demonstrating it, and I go, that sounds so cool. I went out and got some goggles, and I've been loving it ever since. Urine therapy, according to George Johnson, is the most powerful healing therapy in the world. It is the fountain of youth. A guy told me that if he had heard that camel urine heals cancer, I told him right away from animals is being used in skincare products. Why do you think it makes the skin soft? Temporarily, of course, with these creams, so you'll come back for more. Urine is the elixir of life. George Johnson. Now, George Johnson was also a pioneer in his own way. He wore shirts with like tie-dye that said Shivambu. He had a personal license, what do you call it? A plate in the back of the car? License plate, Shivambu. They took a letter or two out, but it was Shivambu. He went out to the Yellowstone National Park with sidewalk chalk, and at the entrance, he wrote in big letters, Shivambu. He might have put some other words to it, but he just kept writing the word in all these public places and posting it on Facebook. I'm going, this guy's really amazing at, you know, marketing this personal water. So that was George Johnson. David Job. Ever heard of him?
No. All these people that you're mentioning, this is cool because I haven't heard of any of them. So this is like opening up so many doors for me.
Awesome, awesome. So let's see. Harry and I have done 3 shows together. David Jubb, we met at the Water of Life Symposium in Las Vegas in 2018. And he's a guy who developed longevity products. He's got a longevity product line. Well, he shows up at this convention walking through the hall, very sure of himself, with his entourage of beautiful women all around him. And he's walking through the halls of the hotel, right? And then he shows up, he gets a chance to have the stage. He lets everybody know he hasn't eaten anything in 10 years. And that urine therapy is the elixir of the gods. And he's a guy who knows, he can speak quantum physics. He can speak biology and physiology that's way over my head. And so this is why I put some of his writing in there, because as you can hear, well, let me just read some of him. You can kind of tell by just his choice of words. The most common complaint today is vascular dementia and poor microcirculation. Urea opens up blood vessels by shrinking waterlogged terrain. It's then that intestinal lesion is healed by B vitamins made by friendly intestinal life colloid, of which the nitrogen from urine therapy is useful, and such a practice shifts life colloid toward useful protobacillus. Everyone talks that way, right? So this is David Jubb. He is from Tasmania, just off the coast of Australia. And if you read about him, that's where he learned it from his mom. They would help the kids. They would wash their clothes in it. They would do all kinds of things with urine for around the house, for the plants, for the family. And so it was natural lead-in when he became a teacher of health and longevity and came to the United States. He may still be in Vegas. I don't know if he's still living in Nevada, but he was in New York for a while. He may still be there. So that's David Jubb, Dr. David Jubb. He's a naturopath. Next, we have Dave Murphy, who also goes by the name on social media as Allegedly Dave. He got his claim to fame in this community by doing a 30-day Oran fast. So he lost a bunch of weight and he got super healthy and became a loud voice for urine therapy. Of course, he also talks about other things like the flat earth and, what's going on behind the scenes with our humanity and, people running the show. So that's Dave Murphy. I'm not sure if he's still in England. He might have gone to another country, but that's Dave. I've been trying to get an interview with him for years. Leah Sampson. If you turn the pages, you'll see about Leah Sampson. She goes by her Canadian Native American name, which is Standing White Buffalo. And she was had all kinds of illnesses. She was very overweight. She had all kinds of conditions in her body, and her thyroid, and her lungs, and tendonitis. She had all these things since she was 12. Fibromyalgia, mild degenerative disc disease, bilateral carpal tunnel. Her body says then in 2016, 15% of her body had first and second degree steam burns on it. And that's when she started Oran therapy. Because urophagia is an ancient indigenous practice that heals and is a procedure that in 2012 her family doctor agreed she could do because nothing else was doing to combat her medical condition, including 6 different daily prescriptions. None of it was working. She drank urine because she was a registered North American treaty status Indian with this tribe, the First Nation, and it was part of her culture. One of her grandfathers, a Sioux chief, survived battles at Wounded Knee. He also survived smallpox, and willing to deduce that her grandfather also drank and used his urine topically in order to do that. So she got inspired by Martha Christie's book, really went at it full time. And as you can see by these pictures, it's very inspiring. I'll tell you where she She was spotted publicly in just a minute. You can see how her skin improved. I know it's a black and white picture, but she lost all that weight, and you can see how she's transformed her body. And then in 2012, 2015, a lot thinner. It's an amazing story of survival and courage to go through what she did. So 6 years ago, she was found in Louisiana at a Mardi Gras celebration out on the street with full Indian feather costumes, and she's dancing it out on the streets in Mardi Gras. I'm going, this girl came back to life. So I had to honor her. I had a video. I did an interview with her years ago, and that's Leah Sampson. There's a lot of people who've come through the worst of the worst, and they owe it to urine therapy. So it's a reminder or a testament that the only thing we can't heal is what we think we cannot heal. The most impossible, the most difficult, the most, quote, incurable, people are reversing it all the time. And they're staying healthy by not quitting. Hint, 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 hint. Any questions so far? If you put me in the mood, I'm going to do a pee drinking rap song.
Whatever you need to be put in the mood.
All right, I'm going to do a rap song. But first, let's go to India. Algovar Marin is from India. And this was some of his writing. He does get a little bit technical, but he has some great points that he highlights, like the nephron system, which blows me away, that is taking the plasma and filtering it over and over again. There's 1,200,000 nephrons or filters, more or less 2,400,000 filters or nephrons in the 2 kidneys. Does that sound like a lot? Does that sound like a lot of filters in your body?
It does.
It does. And science
Yes.
and these government and science websites have confirmed that. So imagine, how could it not be sterile and pure after being filtered that many times? I don't know how many times people would filter water or filter their nutrition to get it that pure.
I don't even know how we knew how do I even know that we have that many filters or nephrons? That's that's impressive itself.
I know, like, what are they doing? Dissecting a body and going, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. He'll be at it for 10 years. That's 1,000,001, 1,000,002. I have no idea. It must.
I messed up.
I know. I got to start over. So that's what they say. All these websites, they confirm that we've got that many filters in our system. Well, let me read a little more from this guy, and then we'll go into a poem by Casey Caban. In reality, urine is the most miraculous and mysterious juice in the world. Your body makes for you to be used as a medicine and at the same time natural nutrition. Urine is a sterile fluid that, while it is in the urethra, urine, more than 3,000, well, now we know there's 5,661 organic compounds, and many of them are specific for each body and each cell. Its main ingredient is 60 to 98% water. Urine contains hormones that go through the pineal gland to the sex glands. It also contains steroids, proteins, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, antioxidants, antibodies, antioxidants, muscle cells, muscle tissues, cellular tissues, endotoxins, exotoxins that are produced by viruses, bacteria, and microbes that live in the body. For all this, it's better to drink any or all of your urine and not consume it with anything artificial or chemically made by man. It is made by the most sophisticated lab made by God herself and not by man like a laboratory. To all brave women and men who practice UT, I bow to you. It's time for a rap song. Here we go. Now, Casey Caban on social media, he goes by the alias We Do Shivambu. So if you ever see any of his poetry, he wrote a book of poems, and he was also at the convention signing copies of the book. And he's let me know that anytime I want to take any of his poems and turn it into music or a rap song for the urine community, we can do that. Let's see if I can pull a rapper out of my head. What are your ailments? Are you seeking a cure? How are you giving treatments that leave you unsure? Most remedies relieve us, but that doesn't matter. Masking the symptoms when the cure's in our bladder. The poisons consumed are always there. It's in our food, water, and air. Some we control, no need to assume. It's simply based on what we consume. If you don't feel good, do you know why? Do you pop a pill and hope you don't die? The cure lives within us, just look and see. It's very simple. Start drinking your pee. Yay, we do Shivambu. I'll have to run that over to my son, see if he'll get his guitar out and do another song. Because he put my song to music. You know the song I wrote? I'm a pee drinking man.
Pee drinking man, yeah, yep.
Yeah, he performed it twice live on
Cool.
on a YouTube channel. If you go to shivalifestyle.com,
Yeah.
you'll see a link to his performance on the homepage. shivalifestyle.com.
Okay.
And I get to talk to Chitta 3 or 4 times a week. Got to check in with him, how he's doing with Emily. So chapter 19. Chapter 19. 10, 9, 9 o'clock. Any questions about anything up until now? Anything you forgot to ask?
When's the next? Will there be another convention in the States?
Only
Like a gathering?
if somebody organizes it. Right now, they've been having them in India about once a year. There's quite a community on Telegram. No, excuse me, WhatsApp. And they have, I mean, I was asked to go to one in India, but the timing and the COVID, it wasn't right. So that's going on. There's one in Africa in February. There's an organizer who's trying to put one together in Portugal, in Lisbon, Portugal right now. He's looking for 2026. So US, not that I'm aware of. You want to be the organizer?
Okay.
You want to step up and be the organizer?
The doors open up for that. I mean, perhaps sometimes when you looking for something and it's not there, I'll pick up the hint soon if that's meant to be.
Well, the ideal place to have it, and a place that would draw people from all over the world, is Hawaii. What an excuse. We're going to go to Hawaii.
That's true.
And we'll do a urine therapy conference in Hawaii with all the activities and all the time to play. So it won't just be convention. Plenty of time to explore the island.
That is a great.
So I think that would be a motivating place for people.
Well, I think that's an important part of like, again, this is not just like a medical method. I think this is something deeper to be aware of. And I think that we said like playtime and element exposure, self-love, loving relations with others, anything that nurtures that, I think is really important for a convention or gathering. Or recently I went to an herbal a confluence of people, not just like a conference. Oh, I'm going to a convention or a conference to learn.
Right.
But it's play to grow. And so I
Mhm.
like that. All right, seeds are planted. Let's see where this goes.
I've written this down. A wellness retreat on Kauai.
Let's talk further.
Kauai.
You got your feet wet in the sand in Kauai already, so let's connect, and I'll keep watering that
Good,
if that
because
needs to be.
the groups I've been hanging around with, the Ascension groups and the grid groups, have been taking me to all kinds of beaches that I would have missed had I not been connected to these groups. So I discovered Secrets Beach 1, 2, and 3. I discovered
Hmm.
Dragon's Breath Beach, Mo'oloa, Moloa'a Beach. Now, Dragon, is it Secrets? Secrets Beach is right around the corner from Kilauea Lighthouse. And as you go further north, all the way to Princeville and Honolulu and Ke'e Beach at the top, these are the most incredible beaches that if you've never been there, you don't know where they are, you'll miss them. So
Hmm.
I'm always thinking ahead, well, if I'm going to go to these beaches, then I can take Robert and my kids and other people, and we can go discover it. And what I haven't done yet is helicopter tours of the canyon. Oh yeah, and boat
Hmm.
rides around the Napili coastline, and just there's all. I want to really jump into tourist mode. This is great. Pay the tourist companies, take me up and down the river to the grotto, and we'll do kayaking events. I mean, just all kinds of cool stuff.
Hmm.
Give you an
Hmm.
opportunity to get out of routine.
Sparks.
You don't get into routine, do you? Time to get away from routine, to see the
Yeah,
world, to explore.
especially mindless routine.
Yeah. Is it mind numbing routine? Like, oh, are you talking about work or
Yeah,
other things?
well, all the things. Yeah, it could be all of it. Remembering of like, wait, why am I doing this thing for this company of this routine? Like, let me create my own.
Yeah. Well, you are. You're in the process some way or another.
Hmm.
In Boulder, what I had to do with Boulder is constantly go down trails I never saw before, go to lakes I never went to before, climb up Sanitas Mountains, different directions. I pretty much walked every inch of Boulder until I go, yeah, I know these trails now. It's great. So you don't just do the same thing. Did you get out to, what's the name of that park? Walden Ponds.
Walden Ponds? No.
Walden Ponds. If you take J Road from 28th Street, you'd follow J Road till it ends to 75th Street. And then you want to go south about a quarter of a mile, you'll see the entrance to Walden Ponds. All right. And when you get there, you want to drive to the furthest parking lot, not just the first parking lot, but drive all the way to the back and then walk around all the lakes, all the ponds, and just to see how beautiful it is and what kind of birds. There's always a guy with one of those high-powered cameras taking pictures of birds up close. Yep. Get out to Twin Lakes, get out to the Res, get out to I mean, they're all over the place. You just get to know the locals. They'll tell where all the great ponds and lakes and rivers are.
Okay.
So chapter 19 is to honor the outspoken teachers, writers, advocates. I call them the Shivambu master teachers and superstars. Because these guys have been putting this information out there for many, many years. Some people like Dr. Loda, him and his wife have been teaching and practicing urine therapy for 55 years. And being from a generation that learned from a previous generation, it's a good idea to honor our elders. People tend to forget that.
Mm.
So I wanted to honor them and recognize them by doing a roll call. So you'll see names in here you recognize, and I'm going to name some that weren't known to me back in 2020. But they showed up either in an interview or on my radar, or however I met these people. They deserve some mentioning here. Dr. Tal Schaller, he's out in France. Dr. Mal Lota, he's in India. Dr. Patel, well, he's passed away. The same with Qatar. GT Takar, he may still be alive. And Cohen Vanderkroon, he's still alive. He's still teaching out in Holland. Leonard Orr passed away. Andrew Norton Weber disappeared. We don't know what happened to him. I forgot to put in Monica. Monica Shoot.
Hey, she's on the back because your list continues here.
Well, good. Good. And I have her
I
twice.
see here.
All right, thank you. So David Jebb, George Johnson, Bumi Samola, who's out in Nigeria, he's going to try to make it to the conference in Botswana. Martha Christie, John Armstrong, Beatrice Barnett, and you can see the list. So the people I want to mention that aren't on that list includes Jonathan Otto, Scott McKay, Dr. Ed Group, Eric Casano, Mike Perry, Kate Stillman, Amanda Vollmer, Chitta Senna, Rodney Levoyer Jr., Lori Ladd. I'm going to put in David Avocado Wolf.
Oh, he's an advocate for porn?
Yeah, I've got a clip from him talking about it on my YouTube channel. Troy Casey, also known as a certified health nut. Christopher Key, who's known as the vaccine police. He came on the scene big time during the fake-demic scenario in 2020. He was on CNN, ABC, all these different channels, the alternative channels, and he was talking about urine cures COVID. Urine is the vaccine. And they arrested him a couple times. They tried to shut him down, shut him up, but he's still out there. He's still around. He's also a devout Christian, so I know he's protected. So that's
This is Steve Williams.
Christopher Key's not in the book. I handwrote his name in my book.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Key. All these names I'm mentioning right now, I handwrote them in my book. Kiana, she's on the big, no, she's on Oahu. Megan McDonald and Darlene, they're in Canada. And then you see the rest of the list. Doc Mike Whittor in Chicago. He's been now doing this 25 years. Martin Laura is been invited to be a speaker over in Africa, so I'm hoping he can make it. All these people were an inspiration for me. They've been an inspiration for a lot of people, a lot of generations. Anthony A.K. King was the brilliant, he was the genius behind the conventions in Las Vegas. He did 3 in a row. And then when COVID hit, they stopped doing it. And so he was a well-known blues man, musician from the Afro-American community. So he had a lot of incredible talents and singers at these conventions because he was buddies with them. They did concerts together and, hung out together. So I wanted to mention Stephen Williams. He started the Urine Aid documentary. Nobody's done one since. That's why I have it on my to-do list, is to travel the world and produce the following the Shivambu Trail documentary. So we'll show up in Boulder and interview you. We'll show up in different places and talk to people about their UT journey. So these are some of the names. Some of them, the people I had websites for, I put their website address on there. Some people and I were close, and then we've gone off on different ways and didn't see that coming. But These are people that I still admire and love, and their names got mentioned in the book. So if you see any of these names, Ruby, she's from Kenya, but she lives in the United States. And what's great is you can see these people's transformation. And I really would like to encourage more people who are watching the show or watching some of my videos that they start posting more before and after pictures. What did your body look like? Did you have any illness? Did you have any problems? Did you have any external stuff going on? And what was it like after doing urine therapy for a while? Because that's inspiring to people to see the before and after pictures. So if you ever have any, maybe you're already in the after stage.
The becoming stage.
The becoming stage. Well, it's becoming you quite well. So let me see what's left here. The future, we're going to look in the future. And I'm going to tell you how this vision that came through back in 2017 and became written up in the Healing Water from Within, the original version, not as well as the second edition. A lot of these have come true. A lot of these visions and prophecies came true over the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And then we're going to go into having a sense of humor. Why is having a sense of humor important when talking about pee drinking? Because we know there are people who don't have a sense of humor. When you tell them, you do what? You drink your what? Are you okay? And so being able to approach the subject with a sense of humor opens up a crack in their heart and their mind to take in the possibility that maybe he's not crazy, because he's able to laugh and enjoy himself, and that's a good sign. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Shivambu nonprofit organization that's in Boulder, and then end the class with the last word from the author. Any questions?
No, I'm no.
Okay. I recognize that wall behind you. I know you're on the first floor. Is next to you the windows that go over to Arapahoe? Are you over by where the kids section is and you go up those little stairs?
Yeah, I'm not far from the kids section and the ramp. This is the El Dorado room, so where you held.
Oh, that's right. That is the El Dorado room, and it still says it on the front window. Okay.
Yeah.
And behind you on the other side of the table is the sink.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Every time you go there, claim more ownership of the room and see if you can go wild with creating stuff. Because you got that room for as long as you got it reserved, and no one's going to walk in no matter what you're doing, as long as you keep your clothes on. And you can do just about anything.
Yeah, this is incredible. I'm actually grateful like that this is another unexpected layer and gift of our connection in our classes that for some reason I was like, I don't want to do this in my room. I don't have my own I have an apartment, beautiful apartment with my roommate, but I like to just have a little more deepening and privacy, and I didn't want to just be in my room. I don't like being on the computer in my own personal bedroom. It's different energy, even though I could do that and it's free. I don't have to buy anything or go anywhere. And then through looking at cafes, I was like, no, a lot of cafes, like this is more interactive, and I don't really care about the conversation, but it's like I want to respect some energy there too. And then I discovered libraries. Then my girlfriend was like, oh, I think there's nooks at the library.
Studies.
And I was like, huh. And I looked into that, and now here they are. And I'm gonna definitely use these. Like for brainstorming sessions and other things. This is great. So
Well,
cool.
you're fortunate, brother, because here in Kauai, you have to pay to reserve the room. You pay like $100
In the library?
in the library, public library here in Hawaii. Does that make sense? No, it's supposed to be a public library. I mean, this is what I loved about the Boulder libraries. You go online, the room's available, you reserve it.
Yeah. Easy.
Right.
I thought all library, if they have nooks and meeting rooms, I thought all libraries would have that.
Yeah, not here. And
Dang.
you're aware, like this one library that's down the street from me. Let me turn off the recording here.
Features.
That's
You
chapter.
have all your networking the resources that you are on Shiva Lifestyle as well, right? I'm pretty sure you have like you've collected and curated an awesome resource and teacher list on your websites. Is that correct?
Yeah, most of them are either at brothersage.com. There's the resource tab. When you click on it, there's a drop-down menu, and at the bottom says UT directory. And then at shivambu.org, we've listed some of the resources there.
Okay.
They will show up at the hut from time to time, but not just, detailed out a list per se, where people can find them all in one spot, which people are doing. There are people who are building these structures in different people in the community. I'm just one
Uh,
guy.
you're one, yeah. You're just doing the best you can, which is great. There's so much more. Through besides your teachings and your experiences and your mentors, since there's a slew, there's tons of other books for quite some time, and I know you mentioned Leonard Orr, and there's the I forget whose book that the other book that you Golden Fountain maybe that you've endeavored when you were younger. Any specific book? Because I think I've only read Armstrong's book. Other than your books, I haven't really read into the library of Oren yet. Is there anything that you recommend to start? Or like, oh, you should, like this is a great. I mean, there's so much content, but additional
There's
that you'd personally recommend.
Your Body's Perfect Medicine by Martha Christie, came out in the early 90s. There's also, what is the Urine Therapy by Beatrice Barnett.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Google and type in urine therapy, all the new authors that came around the last 3 years have books there. If you go to urotherapy.org, which is Dr. Ed Group's urine therapy website, he's listed a lot of the books, and he's giving away free PDFs of the author's work. Urotherapy.org. So there's lots of good books and resources out there. Most of them all are in paperback. Occasionally you'll see them in audio.
Okay.
Which they've been. Now, my book Healing Water from Within is right now being translated into Hindi. The guy who's translating, he's got 50 of the pages already completed. And there's a woman from Africa who's agreed to translate the book into Setvana, whatever their language is out there in Botswana, Africa. But she won't be able to start for a while. And then I would like someone to translate it into Mandarin, and so we can help the Chinese market. And I think I have it in German already. So let's get into the time capsule and go look at the future. Get your DeLorean. We're going back to the future. This channeling or this chapter came through me in 2017, 2018. So, but a lot of it since then has come true. And let's just read through it and see how much of this actually came true. Here we go. The future of the Shivambu movement and urine therapy. There is an increasing worldwide interest in becoming a teacher. This is resulting in the creation of schools, educational programs, home study classes, and conferences. Our voices are being heard. The Shivambu movement is growing. There is much more work to do as our message is being spread mostly through social media, radio, TV shows, and interviews. Every day, more are taking the message and mission to the streets and to the people who need a miracle. This has been an organically growing grassroots movement all the way up to 2024. The dates changed. Moved by the healing of their own bodies, courageous individuals like you are putting aside concerns and fears, offering a life-saving remedy by telling their friends and loved ones about their UT discovery. And now is not a good time. Sorry about that. Let me turn my phone to hush hush. Okay, no more interruptions. Billions of people are desperately seeking answers to their illness. They're disappointed with the medical establishment, and we're going to continue to share the message to everyone. Let this be the day that the world government and the media tell the people of the world the truth. Now, that would be a great disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden they come out. Don't you think that that would put a little bit of a wrench in the medical industry and big pharma? Interesting. Through spreading the education, Shivambu organization will be producing and already is educational and instructional projects for whatever the years are to empower everyone in this life-changing practice. Outreach programs, local water community meetings, support groups, UT teachers, therapy centers are being established in Africa, which they are, US, UK, Germany, Australia, India, and other countries. Shivambu's documentaries, trainings, and research findings will be taught in schools, university, churches, AA meetings, recovery centers, senior centers, wellness centers, websites, and movie theaters across the world. How's that for a paradigm shifter? Imagine guys going to a recovery group and the guy stands up and says, urine therapy healed me. It changed my life. I got off of my addictions. Here's what it really is. Let's talk about it. That'd be a game changer. Our tools are making these topics engaging for young and old viewers, which is sparking excitement for future studies. Hold on a minute. Kids, UT books. And superhero. My partner and I over at the Shivambu Lifestyle Store have been posting about looking for someone who will help us to write urine therapy books for children and to write a superhero comic book about P-Man, the superhero who comes and saves the world by spreading pee and teaching about pee, and his name is P-Man. And the characters, the boys and girls that are going to be in the urine therapy kids books, their names are Oren and Golden. So if you're a good artist and you can illustrate kids' books and we could write a script for the kids' books, we could produce urine therapy education for children.
Wow.
That's a futuristic way to look at it. Anyway, we continue to be blessed with countless numbers of enthusiasts joining with their time, talent, energy, and voices to the movement all the time. Your devotion and practices and compassion for everybody is appreciated and needed now more than any time in our history, as we are changing the healthcare system on this planet forever. Shivambu is here to bring health freedom to many generations living today and in the future. Those with questions on how to join Shivambu in the worldwide mission or have any suggestions, donations, proposals, or ideas to further our work, you can reach us at through shivambu.org. Following the Shivambu, can you see any of this has come true already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot more education and a lot more, I feel like networking with this.
Yeah. A lot has
Much more.
much more than 1994. This is 30 years ahead. 30 years later, it's the information, the education is starting to hit critical mass. Yay. Following the Shivambu Trail documentary, we'll travel the world with Brother Sage, an assistant and a camera crew, spreading the message with Urotherapy stories and recording inspiring news from people on the streets. Spin-offs will come after the book is published, which will include radio, television, and internet talk show interviews and articles. More respected celebrities will be coming forward and lending their names and reputations by endorsing AUT for the world to discover the practice for themselves. Scott McKay came forward and he talked about urine therapy with myself and Dr. Group on Jonathan Otto's docu-series, The Patriot Street Fighter. So you can see what kind of big names. And somebody said I should get on Joe Rogan's show. I'm going, I would do that, but I don't want to be flown, even they pay for it. I don't know if I want to get on a plane and fly to Austin or wherever he broadcasts the show. So I'd have to reconsider that. I'd do it from here to there, you know, through a camera. There's a growing interest in becoming a teacher in the United States and across the planet. This will result in your UT schools, educational programs, and uncertification. Ever heard that term before? Uncertification means you're pre-qualified based on your years of direct experience and results with your lifestyle and with your students. Those are your credentials. So I'm uncertifying people so they don't have to be certified. These are all the credentials you'll ever need. UT teachers will be grandfathered in by their commitment and their work. A percentage of the proceeds from fundraisers for the Shivambu organization is going to help out causes and individuals who make a difference on the planet. And then ultimately, the Shivambu headquarters will be established as the Purification and Retreat Center of the Pacific, though right now that's not the current name we're thinking of using. We're thinking of calling this retreat center the Light Center of the Pacific.
Light Center.
And we discovered that there is a way that's it's possible to set up such a place without any interference by any government or any authority in any country by having it as a private membership between men and women. And so it's not between entities, it's not between corporations, it's between human and human, man to man, woman to woman. And so there are private clubs and private organizations that do this on the planet, and the government can't touch them. So we probably won't call it a church. We probably won't call it a retreat center. We might call it a private group or a private association.
It could still be a center. It's just operating under the model of, you know, something else. It's not the typical.
Right.
I'm familiar and just enough from the surface of that and that that path of sovereignty and the whole 9 yards of all of that.
Sure.
One day, there's a lot there, many layers to unpeel and uncertify in those
There
words.
are, and there's a growing group of sovereigns and American nationals in Colorado.
Oh yeah, I think there's a group in like Wheat Ridge operates. There's a lot of like sovereign being.
Go to Grandview, go to Durango, go to Crestone. You know, these are the guys with the shotgun in the back window and the bumper stickers, you know, all the good old boys. Let's just finish up here. A double-blind study that lab tests are unnecessary. A double-blind study confirms that laboratory testing are unnecessary to determine which so-called virus or contaminant is causing an infection, and Urotherapy is beneficial for human health. As the word spreads, many laboratory owners and technicians will be out of work. Consequently, the pharmaceutical and medical industry who make antibiotics and sells these antibiotics are cutting back on their workforce and may possibly also close their business because there'll be no need to use their products or services. Prime Minister Modi of India declares urotherapy as an acceptable form of healthcare, and he has done so publicly about 3 years ago. Governments will include UT in the curriculum in all the medical and educational institutions. Hospitals and healthcare providers will provide AUT as their #1 treatment, and all states and countries will give official recognition to AUT. There'll be a cooperation and coordination between different healthcare disciplines to assist in overcoming all illness and contributing to the happiness, well-being, and health of humanity. We'll become self-reliant as people and as a world, or as a humanity, and find out about the basic and natural therapeutic practice, which is safe, sure, simple, and free. This is a gift of life known as Shivambu. On the next page, you'll see this couple. See this couple?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it look like they're doing?
They're communion. They're cheersing each other with pee.
That's how I saw it. This is actually a stained glass window off of a restaurant and bar. It's either in Broomfield or whatever the town is between where you are in Denver. And I saw them in the stained glass window. I'm going, that's not how I interpret it. That's pee drinking communion right there. So in the PDF version, you can see the full color, but it's a man and a woman on a bicycle toasting. With autourine therapy, it doesn't matter the name of a disease or the story about it. It doesn't matter lab tests or personal beliefs. Shivambu still brings healing, miracles, and answer to prayers. It bypasses our whole belief system and our considerations about what it is. That makes it supernatural. How does it work? How does it work? Why does it work? What's in it? What do you got going behind it? What do you got any proof? What blah, 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 blah. People ask. I said, you'll get your answer once you drink it. That's what they would tell you in India. Just drink it. Your questions will be all answered once you start using it.
Yeah, try it for yourself.
Yeah.
I love it.
That actually is the other bumper sticker, the other slogan I got copyrighted. I already told you I got a copyright on this one. I got 250 of these bumper stickers left if you want any of them.
Well, you sent me one with one of the books when I bought one of your books. You sent me one.
All right. Well, you may want more.
I could pass them around if you want to. Yeah, I don't have a car myself to know where to put it right now, but put somewhere else.
I wouldn't put them on public places. I wouldn't put them at the bus stop or anything on a light post. I gave a couple to one of my students at at our retreat center when we were in, we were on a retreat in Oceanside, California. And we're walking up and down the street because we're waiting for the ride to the airport. And this gal, she's putting up my bumper stickers on all these light posts in different places. I said, you think that's going to land for people if they see that out there? I mean, who knows?
You can put it on above a toilet in the bathroom.
Yeah, that definitely gets some eyes raised.
So he'll, like what?
But how is this therapy? How's that supposed to work? All right, well, that's up to the people. Once they get their stickers, they do whatever they want with it. All right, we're going to go into laugh mode.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I ain't have enough laughs this whole time, brother. I want a refund. Not enough laughs.
Uh, well, I used to have a guarantee with my work that either you're going to get results or I'm going to double your misery back. I'm not going to give you back the jokes. Those I get to keep. So we're in chapter 21 and you got your certificate, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm sure it's there. I just haven't had time to look at it, but I was doing other things before the class.
All right, send it by messenger and by text. So you'll access it either way.
Okay. Yeah, it's
And when you get it, print it and show it to your folks and tell them how proud you are. Mom, Dad, I got a certificate in urine therapy. Great. Is that great, son?
Is that great?
Is that a good thing? I don't know.
Who is this?
You go, is this my mother? Why would she say such a thing? If my parents were alive, maybe I could have saved my
I'm a certified pee drinker. Great.
Yeah, I've got a PhD in urotherapy. I know piss. I don't know shit about shit, but I know shit about piss. I know a lot about it. Okay, let's get into this. I think we're gonna crack up and we won't be able to get through this. Let's see what happens. Humor is a adjunct, a therapy to AUT, and it really makes a difference. Smiling not only increases your face value, but it produces endorphins and happy molecules, and this has been scientifically proven. While dealing with the controversial subject of drinking one's pee and sharing AUT with the sick people you wish to help, it will take a sense of humor as well as a sensitivity to earn the acceptance by prospects and newbies on this path. The Piscabulary of Urinisms, which came out in 2022, was included in the book Healing Water from Within, along with piss cartoons, pee jokes, celebrities discussing drinking their pee, or people singing pee drinking songs, was for readers to learn how to lighten up when presenting UT to anyone. Let's see. There's a movie with Kevin Costner. He's in the movie Westworld, and there's a scene he's out in the middle of the sea peeing into a container that goes through a filtration system and turns it into drinking water. Why?
Waterworld.
Waterworld. That's it. There's also a show called The Fight Club. The Fight Club with Brad Pitt. And in there, there's a scene where he says, urine, it's sterile. You can drink it. And that clip is running around YouTube. There's also a scene with David Duchovny from the UFO Files. What was the name of that show?
I never watched any of that stuff.
Anyway, he's waking up in the morning from a night of drinking, and he's peeing into an empty wine bottle, and he's got his back turned to the guy he's talking to. And then when he's done collecting, he sits up and drinks out of the bottle. So these kind of things, there's a video going around with Madonna talking about using urine. She was interviewed on David Letterman, and he says, what other unknown strange things about you do we not know about, Madonna? She says, well, when I take a shower, I pee on my feet, and it really helps clear up foot fungus and foot conditions. So there's little clips of different actors and entertainers and even sports celebrities sharing what they do with urine therapy. And not just that guy from the survival show. What was his name?
Bear Grylls?
Yes, Bear Grylls. He talks about it several times, and they made fun of him for years. Come to find out, he was right.
Yeah, but I think Bear Grylls actually, he was not really speaking or advocating for it. I think he like purely used it for survival, and like, at least the clip I saw, I think he was like, he was grossed out by it. if anything, but he purely used it as a tool.
Yeah, I get that. But what's the difference between a survival situation in a movie or in TV and survival of everything we're bombarded with every day in 2024? A lot of us feel like we're in survival mode now because everything in our food and our water and our air and electronic devices, we have to take care of ourselves even more.
Mm.
All right, let's turn the page. Humor and piss puns produce a temporary shift in the mind in an attempt to take in a new idea, particularly one that challenges our perception of reality or beliefs learned from, quote, trusted sources. While a person is going through mental gymnastics to be able to understand and integrate this new idea known as the sorting out period, AUT is worth considering. This must sink deeper into the mind until they get it. And don't try to read what above that picture. It's kind of hard to read it, but you can see it under a magnifying glass. Humor is the key that opens the mind. It spices and lightens up any apparent difficulties. Humor, like a powerful laser light, penetrates the most guarded of minds, allowing new ideas to be planted in a now fertile soil. One pioneer in laughter, laughter research claimed that took 10 minutes on a rowing machine for his heart rate to reach the level it would after just a minute of hearty laughter. Did we do any haha yoga in class yet?
No.
There's a haha yoga technique going around that it causes people to laugh. And the instructor had 3 people do what she did. She would go, ha, and they would go, ha. And then she would go, ha, ha, and they would go, ha, ha. And she just kept adding one more ha, 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 until everybody in the room cracked up. So I call that haha yoga.
I've heard of laughter yoga before. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my goodness. We had a gathering here at the beach, and what everybody did was someone lay down, the next person put their head on their belly, the next person put their head on her belly until everybody's head was on someone's belly. And then someone started the laughter before we realized that everybody's shaking. Everyone's laughing and shaking. So maybe you could start that up in Boulder.
Okay, I love that. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, we're meeting over at the library. We're going to do haha yoga for 20 minutes. Charge him a penny.
There's humor in that.
Yeah, 2 cents worth. Put in your 2 cents worth. That would be great. 10 minutes of laughter can produce 2 hours of pain-free sleep, as well as a mind that's free from worry. It has been shown in several studies that the ability to laugh raises the level of infection-fighting antibodies by the body, as well as boosts the level of immune cells. Your body responds incredibly well to the effects of a belly laugh. Orin, especially during looping, increases antibodies, nourishes the nerve cells, the nervous system, especially the glands, normalizes work of blood vessels, and lowers blood pressure. Adding comedy, humor, and laughter reactivates, amplifies, and enhances the body's strength as it brings positive changes. Regardless of whether laughter actually does improve your health or boost your energy, it undeniably improves your quality of life. Enjoying laughter is the reason to laugh. Being pissed on is more therapeutic than staying pissed off. And it may happen to you one day. One day you meet this gal and you're both doing the same thing. And she says, may I give you a golden shower? And you said, please, go right ahead. I am where shall I lay down? So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Oops, too many puns.
Moving from the kink to embody the holistic practice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Get hit by learning new hilarious Orin language. It is packed with piss-rich puns and new Orin words with definitions. Learn it today. It won't be confiscated, and you will not be pissing away your time. Breathe, exhale, release the pressure from your belly, your mind, your bladder, and your intestines. Here's a pistacular idea that will facilitate your coordination with others. I had the time of my life writing that book, and people were sending me pee jokes. I'm going, we've got to get a new vocabulary out there. So that's why that piscabulary was born. Words like orinosphere, oriniverse, and perspect, giving each other perspect. In my experience, I feel everyone's love and gratitude for hearing the message in the most peefic way. Just pee happy, pee active, and drink your pee today. Here's today's mantra. And this is appropriate for the guys who are watching this playback that have prostate issues. I now pee easily, effortlessly, and on time. All my pee is therapeutic and beneficial to me. I relax, release, and am present when I pee. That's the one thing you can't go unconscious. When you're peeing, you have to be totally focused on the relief and the satisfaction you get during peeing. Who starts working on something else when you're peeing? Right? That's all you're doing. It's very be here now practice. Particularly if you want to empty your bladder. I mean, you got to stay with it all the way to the end.
I hope so.
I hope so too. You're in good hands with your own water. Trust the flow. Hey, if they can't take a joke, you know what to do. Pee on them. Pee on them. Yeah, don't act like a peon, but be a peon. Have you come aboard the Orin wave before it becomes the big change? Come on in. The water is fine. Either get pissy drinking or get busy sinking. Hemponomics is what happens when a hemp farmer uses Orin in his field. His plants and his income become enormous. Was it Mary Poppins who sang a verse? And in it, there was a line that says expialidocious. Do you remember that song? Supercalifragilistic. Expialidocious, even though the sound is something quite atrocious. Yes. Let the piscabulary of urinisms fill up your joy tank, and you will never be piss poor again. And that book is available on Amazon for a ridiculously low price of only $9.99. And you'll laugh so hard you might pee in your pants. All right. It's 11:11. Time for a drink. Yours is 20 minutes old. Take your time. He's doing pulling. This is a demonstration of Orin pulling right here.
I can't not do it anymore. Even if it's 2 swishes, it's like it's so habitual or and natural, I want to say.
Yeah, it's your new default setting. Wherever I'm at, if I take some like I'm in the car, I don't gulp. Sometimes you just savor it. Let it work its way in your mouth and into your bloodstream. I go, I'll swallow it. No hurry. I like to experiment and twist the envelope. Well, what if I keep it in my mouth longer? Will that help? Will that make me stronger? And why not? Let's find out. So chapter 20.
Morning and night.
What about morning and night?
Morning and night, I for anyone, especially starting to practice or just another way or excuse or time to just especially rinse and gargle. I feel like in the morning I have more time, so the first thing if I pee and then I kind of just rinse my mouth and like just refreshing. Like some people just drink a lot of water. They say drink water to hydrate in the morning. I drink Orin and then I drink some and then I leave the rest the last gulp I'm gonna have just rinse in my mouth while I'm doing everything else in my morning. So in my morning routine. So then by the time you know it, like 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, you're gargling in your mouth, your Orin pulling.
Yeah.
Same thing in that.
And it's easy to do.
Yeah. You're stacking. What do they call them? Habit stacking or
I get it.
routines. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One on top of the other. So we've got about 45 minutes, more or less. If we decide to open up the last 10, 15 minutes for open discussion, we can do that. But let's go into who the heck is this Shivambu organization? Now, this organization came about from all our meetings at the El Dorado room in the downtown Boulder Library. And we had Indira and Vijay Gupta, who are our UT mentors from India. He was a professor at CU for 33 years before he retired. He was a professor at CU, which is across the street from the library. And his field of study was, get this, the science of water. So he brought all that science and his intelligence into our community and into the meetings. And we had Christopher McClure from Gun Barrel, Therese Nichols, and every now and then some other friends would come by and join our meeting. So we put together the nonprofit organization with Christopher's help. It's called Shivambu, or shivambu.org, which is the actual website address. And our idea was to spread the message, the education, the awareness of this water to all areas of the earth, and in so doing, building an infrastructure for future generations. And this is how it all started. To tip the tipping point, the increasing, some of the,
wow.
It was a wow factor. And then we put together the Shivambu hut. There's 1,350 members. What's interesting about the hut, I don't know if I told you this, before COVID hit, there was 200 members. Every year after 2020, 300 new members joined. I'll tell you about the interest. Now from 2020 at 200 members to 2024, there's 1,350 members. What does that say about people's interest in this subject? Right? And we decided to keep it as a free membership instead of charging people, so they could come in and go as they want. They can leave content, they can review everybody's content, and you can build a community. So that's what that was for. To tip the tipping point, the increasing cosmic energy or light wave is here. It's visible as a golden liquid structure known as Shivambu. To reach as many minds as possible, messengers are using their voices and platforms like social media, television, radio, newspapers, books, etc. Our efforts to bring the message to local residents is paying off. In 2019, Channel 9 News drove up from Denver with their crew. And at one of our meetings in the Boulder, Colorado library, they did a show, and it increased an avalanche of attention, discussion, and growing interest in Urotherapy. Now, the one from Channel 7 that came to my apartment, Teresa and I are doing Tai Chi, and I told you about that one, I think. Channel 7.
I think it's a video.
Yeah, so it's had over like 100,000 views by now. And they thought it was going to hush us up because they brought the doctor in the last 30 minutes to tell us we got it wrong, we're crazy, we're in a cult. But that didn't stop the message from hitting 100,000, which is a great testament to how the message is more powerful than corrupt media. Looks like the Urotherapy of Colorado meetup groups keep growing. And then there's Channel 7. They reached out to us, ESPN, CNN, Newsweek, they all reached out. Within a week, Brother Sage was contacted and interviewed on a health show in China out of Hong Kong. And that is John who interviewed me. And here you are, just, in a one-bedroom apartment in Boulder. Before you realize it, you're affecting everything all over the planet. That's how far you can reach as a messenger. Well, maybe universal. I don't know if we need to go that far. but at least to reach the people who need to hear the message. That's why I've been so proactive for 7 years.
People find it as needed.
They are, and
That's
none of this work has been hard sell.
it sells itself. It sells itself. Yeah.
Oh,
It shows it.
it does. It reveals itself, and it has an it has a power behind it that's pushing the movement. The other day, I'm going to one of my local health food stores, doing some shopping, and this guy comes around the corner and says, "You're Brother Sage, aren't you? I just saw you interview Kate Stillman. I love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. I love you too. Hey, here's a copy of my book. Let's stay together."
Cool.
So this stuff happens all the time, and it's like gets ridiculous after a while. People go, "I saw you on the internet." I said, "Give me a hug. This is real. This is not the internet. I'm not AI, and this is not CGI. This is the real guy right here." So it's mind-blowing how that happens, and you don't even see it coming. Oh, we know each other? Nah, we do now. Okay. So I'm still reading a little bit more here before we run out of book here. All responses, positive or negative, continue bring more energy to the sacred mission and message. The Shivambu organization, now it was originally called the Global Shivambu Awareness Mission. We were going to call it GSAM, but we changed it to Shivambu because everybody's familiar with the word. Now, if you notice that Shivambu is spelled slightly different the way everybody spells it on the internet, because the true spelling goes back to the Hindu spelling, which has BHU at the end. And the word actually means water of Shiva. Ambu means water. But a lot of people spell it without the H. Just thought I'd point that out to you. Shiva, isn't that good to know? It either means water of Shiva or it means blood of the Lord. And when we talk about blood of the Lord, what we're referring to is plasma. We're not vampires. Some of the work of Shivambu is to bring the education awareness to local communities. By taking it offline, more people will be reached than those who use the internet. That's why we use the El Dorado room. And this is why we brought in the media. This is why we took it out on Pearl Street Mall. Because these people, a lot of people like the old timers, old generation, they don't want to go on the internet. They don't even want a cell phone. Right? So their trusted sources of information is television and radio. So I decided they needed to be reached, so we took it out to the streets. Having a local support group brings enthusiasm for Shivambu by creating a safe place or a safe space for folks to open up about their journey, successes, failures, and new ideas on making UT presentations. Every water sister and water brother who meets with others forms an unbreaking friendship for life. And have you noticed that? Have you met some of the water brothers and sisters on social media?
Not in person.
Well, at least through social media.
Just a couple.
Okay. Yeah, if you ever start up a friendship with them, you'll notice it's a pretty good friendship.
Mm.
Invite your friends to join us at our alternative social media platform, The Hut. Here you can get questions answered, dialogue with fellow practitioners, post UT content for members to enjoy. Here at The Hut, you can read articles, watch educational and entertaining videos, or just share your experience and your content with the rest of the community. All HUD members, which are affectionately referred to as Water Family, are encouraged to contribute any content relating to UT topics that are found on the site. Use your writing and skills and passion for this precious water to educate others, which furthers the awareness and message of AUT across the planet. Supporting Shivambu financially, energetically, or through collaborating helps with logistics, promotions, productions, public outreach, equipment, day-to-day work on the building, maintaining and growing a global humanitarian mission. And I hope you and all the people who watch all the content I put up on social media will get that we're doing 99% of this with our own money. And so when I ask people for donations, it helps out to keep all these things up and running. Because there's several platforms we have to pay to use their services, their software, their website, whatever. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes. We're self-funding our own projects. I just thought I'd put that out there because not everybody realizes there's more than meets the eye when it comes to doing something like this. Bless you for coming home to our water family, and especially coming home to you. Let us know today. Much water love, Brother Sage. Any questions so far? Oh, he's showing off Shiva. Shiva and Parvati. What's in her left hand? What's in her left hand? Her left hand, what is she holding?
A golden, like a copper bucket type of thing, like a cup.
That's her.
Oh, yeah.
It's a vessel. That's her urine collecting vessel.
Oh.
That's her pee pot, her piss pot.
Hmm.
And she asked her husband, how do you stay young? How come you don't age? How come you look healthy, strong, and sexy? And so she outs her husband. He says, well, it's your water. Drink of yourself and you will know. She called him out on it one day.
That's what the Damar Tantra is?
Yeah, he lays out the 9-year program, how to achieve the best health and longevity you can.
Actually, I have a question on that, if you don't mind me asking on that, if you know anything.
Not at all. Hit me.
He meant, so within that protocol and Shiva's dialogue on the Damar Tantra and everything he's sharing, it's kind of like verses. Mentioning a lot of herbs, a lot of herbs and plants and names of herbs that I never even heard of. There are a lot of, I guess, regional to in India, and a lot of use cases, and a lot of them kind of overlapping. Like,
Yep.
oh, this for this, but then if you do this and this thing, it does the same thing and more. But then if you do this for this year, it does even more. And all these things, they kind of overlap. And it's like, do you need to do all of that for X amount of time, or pick and choose, or what does that, where you even find these things? And do you really need those herbs with urine? Obviously, like everything we're talking about, it's belief, our trust and integrity and intuition, and our drive and the energy we put into it in our own body.
Yes.
So I'm curious your experience from others, your knowledge and understanding, or your direct experience with any of those herbs, or additional insight on what that really means.
Thank you. Good questions. Like you said, there's a lot of herbs and plants and medicinal plants I've never heard of. I don't know what language he's referring to. If it's a botanical name of a plant, it's something that's regional, indigenous to India. I have no idea. And I've yet to find the need to add anything to enhance the water. I may put it out in the sun, or I might do some things around energetic devices, but I've never felt a need to make what's powerful more powerful. And I think if people want to experiment with what's suggested in the Damar Tantra, and they get results, fine. But it's not where there's dogma around this. You know, I notice when you read some Ayurvedic modalities or some naturopathic modalities, liver cleanse, intestinal cleanse, lymphatic cleanse, whatever it is, they say you have to do this, and it has to be done a certain way, and it has to be done at certain times of the day, and all these rules around it. I don't find rules associated with urine therapy. So I think it had a place in time, and maybe, you know, 5,000 years later, people, you know, want to experiment with what the teaching was, but I don't follow it that way. Just that Damar Tantra was showing us that this is what it is.
Cool.
Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that did. And also just how I relate with I have a lot of friends and of personal interest in the world of herbalism and just earth medicine and plants. And I know the potency, you know, they're great allies if you see it as that, but not beyond of like externalizing our healing as we spoke about before. Though it is fascinating. I'm seeing it in the light of like potentially, yes, some herbs can elevate some experiences in the body. I'm not talking about psychedelic, but just like, you know, certain herbs for liver or detoxing, it can maybe enhance the experience or accelerate some experiences in the body. So perhaps it's in that light. Same thing with Western or even Eastern herbalism, working with plants in that way in conjunction with now one's knowledge of Orin can maybe, you know, speed things up depending on where one's at, or greatly help. But now I'm thinking of it like, well, really the foundation is just all you need is Orin. All you need is yourself and your love and trust. Though plants allyship can be very beneficial if you want to.
Yeah, for example, it's universally known or historically known that ginseng, you know, a 200-year-old ginseng root deepens the chi, you know, the life force, the energy of the body. But it's for a lot of people who use these herbs, ashwagandha, bicoba, a lot of these herbs from the Ayurvedic world, the Ayurvedic, it sounds so subtle. Now, how do you know if your chi has been grounded and it's stronger than it is before? Well, you'll know when you feel it. And if you can feel it and you need the help of some ginseng, take it. If you feel the need of ashwagandha, take it. But it's not something that you have to take every day.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get
Cool.
really lost in something you have to take, other than urine therapy, something you have to either take or else you won't be able to function.
Yeah. That's why I want to bring up the Damar Tantra, because if someone just gets introduced to urine therapy through Damar Tantra, it can seem dogmatic or confusing to a Western mind, you know, because we're at a lot of context.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think this conversation and that makes a lot of sense. You know?
Yeah. And if somebody's trying to find those herbs in a main town in America, you know, you'd be lucky to find a Chinese herb store, or, you know, or something that is anywhere near what you need in the Damar Tantra.
Yeah.
Now there's one downtown Boulder. You probably know about it, Rebecca's.
Yeah, Rebecca's is amazing.
Yeah, the girls who work there, they're herb masters. They know all the herbs that are in that store. So that's the place I would go to if I needed.
I'll bring a copy of the Damar Tantra that I find online. Like, hey, do you know any of these herbs? And do
Yeah.
you know about your Orin?
Well, those are the kind of people I'd like to give a free copy of my book to. Because if anybody would have any kind of open mind about, well, maybe this is true because Ayurvedic started with urine therapy, but whether they want to offer the book for sale in the store is another thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, herb store is a little specific about the type of books that
What they sell. The other place that might have an open mind would be the Lighthouse on Pearl Street, the one that's
I
downstairs in
can
the
see.
basement.
Yeah,
Have you been
or
there?
Trident.
Or Trident. I've
Trident
been to
bookstore.
Trident. I had all my books in Trident, and then right before I left, I noticed they weren't on the shelf and they weren't ready to reorder, or they had a new buyer, whatever it was. But for about 3 years, my books are in Trident.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. And I have gone to Lighthouse. I do like Lighthouse.
Okay.
Good for esoteric various studies.
Yes, and there are people who do readings there. They used to have readers there. All right, we're almost done here. We're gonna come to our finale. And you get your certificate, and then you get to tell your parents you graduated, and hats go up in the air. And so these references, the reason I started putting references in my books, because I had to learn how to put references and resources in the books, because I approached the Nexus magazine out of Australia. Everybody heard about them?
Nexus?
Nexsus. They have the book. They have the magazine over at Barnes and Nobles.
I feel like I've heard of Nexus, but I don't know if it's the same Nexus that we're referring to.
Okay, it's a
What do they
magazine.
do?
It's a magazine that's putting out controversial conspiracy ideas for the last 30 years. And
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
in 2013, 14, 16, whatever it was, they did an article on urine therapy. So I come around 10 years later, I says, you need a modern article on urine therapy. They said, great, we'll take it, but you got to give us references. And I had no idea what they were referring to until I finally figured it out. So now I have references in the book. What kind of clinical trials, what kind of science, what kind of government backings, what's on Wikipedia. I'm starting to add those more and more to the book so people who need that kind of stuff can have it.
Yeah.
Testimonials, some of them you can find from the back of this book on whatever page that is. And since this book came out in 2020 originally, there's a lot more testimonials floating around. You can pick them up on any social media platform. And those testimonials are the thing to have on hand when someone says, do you have any testimonials of people healed this condition and that condition and this condition and that condition? Was it around their brain, their heart, their liver, their kidney, their bladder, their urinary tract? Was it whatever it was? If you have testimonials, it really helps. Because if I just tell him I had a client who had gonorrhea and he knew they discovered it in his urine and he drank his urine anyway, and 4 days later he went back and it was healed. So any sexually transmitted disease, any urinary tract disease, any vaginal disease, we got testimonials. So this is not a hobby. This is not just a practice. This is a phenomena. I like it. We're like the silent revolution, and only the people who are supposed to know about it know about it. You don't have people talking on the streets. You're walking by and there's a bunch of people on the streets and you could go, you're talking about urine therapy? Tell me more. Tell me more. That would be great. And one of these days I will set up a table here in Kauai and get permission from the county or the state to do that and talk about urine therapy publicly. They'll either embrace it or they'll kick me off the island. I don't know what to do, what that's going to mean, but one way to find out is to test the waters. No pun intended. I'll test the consciousness of Kauai one of these days. So these are resources. If you ever want to look up any of these things. There's a lot more Facebook groups than when I put this out. There's a lot more Telegram groups, WhatsApps. There's like 6 WhatsApps groups from United States to India to Africa. There's a whole bunch of groups on Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So pretty much anybody can plug in and learn about what this is all about. If they just type it in, Google it in any of the search engines and social media, and you'll find all these groups. There's organizations like what we put together, the HUT, the shivambu.org. I've not had time since the book came out. I don't know if it's in your copy. The shivalifestyle.com.
Shiva, no, just the Shivambu.
Okay. We evidently didn't get it in because our shivalifestyle.com website came about in November of 2023. And it's the perfect supply hut you can imagine for everything you need for this journey and to build a wellness lifestyle. And what's so neat is that we built it on Wix.com, and Wix.com has an app where you can see the statistics about your visitors, and it collects email data. And so we have visitors from everywhere on the planet, including Korea, including Pakistan, including Saudi Arabia and Dubai, including everywhere. Except Antarctica. No one from Antarctica has shown up yet, but so that's kind of neat. It shows statistics. And what that tells me is which countries have an interest in the subject. So that's so neat about Shiva Lifestyle. Here we have authors, instructional and entertaining videos. Now I can't guarantee that all these links in the book are still active or still are live links. Some of them are broken, some of them went out of business, but there they are in the book. On the next page is the Water of Life Symposium. I was there in 2018 when we took that picture. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm on the front row on the right next to that table.
Yeah, okay.
I'm on my knees. You see me?
I do.
All right. And on my right is Dr. David Jubb. So these are the people I got to meet. I got to meet and hug and love and share stories and laugh together. And in the book, I wrote the Botswana Africa conference, and that was originally going to be scheduled for 2020. But the world as we knew it changed. And so traveling on an airplane was not really a good call for me. Much less being at DIA airport. I didn't like that place at all. So here's the last word from the author, and then we're going to close off the class. Since the first release of urine therapy books in 1944, rather than the doubt and criticism one would expect to encounter, there was tens of thousands of people willingly accepted the information in these books. Thanks to somebody having the love, courage, and wisdom to take the time to share UT with others, there are currently over 300 million. The number has changed a lot. There's closer to 500 million. 300 million Shivambu enthusiasts in over 50 countries. Got to write that down. And that statistic is a little bit flexible because you can't count the people who are in certain countries and they don't have access to modern communication devices like cell phones, the internet. So there may be a lot more. I mean, Dr. Whittort gave me the figure of 800 million. He says we may be close to 1 billion. But they're not recording all these people. It's the same reason why it's still around after all these years from the Damar Tantra, because a lot of this was passed on by word of mouth and it wasn't written down and it wasn't taken out publicly. So it was all an underground movement. which is very exciting. Many people, including doctors, are coming forward. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, perhaps a lot of people from between Africa, China, and India. 1 billion people is like, that's an eighth of the population on the planet. That's more. That's way more than I even would think. But if it's like hush hush or not spoken much, people just doing it in like countries like that, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Is that your guess of like those countries?
Yeah, I would guess it. And from my research, we discovered there are urine therapy associations in China, in India, and in Germany. In 2016, they were doing articles about these guys in China that were drinking their urine, living long, healthy lives. And they had an association that boasted 7+ million members. That's one country. Right? Germany had 10 million members in their association. I'm waiting to hear back from the Chinese association so I can start doing things with them. You know, and
that makes sense.
There may be more organizations that I don't know about yet, and I'm excited about hearing about them. So we can coordinate all these countries together. The guys in India, they got it down. They have meetings and events and online conferences all the time. Of course, the challenge I have is they don't necessarily speak English. I don't speak Tamil or Hindu. So, or Hindi, excuse me. So I'm out of luck there. Many people, including doctors, I read this part. After reading over these reports and looking at all the other many studies on urine therapy, I couldn't help thinking, why didn't anybody ever tell us? Keep the Shivambu faith, dear ones. Well, you know the answer to that. Why didn't they tell us that pee is medicine? Because the medical industry would be out of business. Very simple. They were protecting their industry, protecting their doctors. So keep the faith, dear ones. Keep doing an awesome job at spreading the message. Glad we've been blessed with our water family. And then the book ends up with testimonials, and that's it. Congratulations. You graduated with full honors. You may wish to print your certificate and frame it and put it in your office so your clients will walk in and there's a topic of conversation. You may want to put books on the coffee table at your house or on the tank behind the toilet. So when people are in there, they can have some reading material. There's no limit what you can do with this, this journey and this path. And what's going to surprise you is how much you get insights, how many ideas you get because your body's cleaning up, your brain's coming back online big time.
What I love about this, what I love about Oren is that it naturally supports a it's a purification in terms of that, or just cleaning. One's even if it takes years, one is naturally gonna lean towards, oh, I wanna treat my body and mind better. I wanna probably eat lighter. You know, one probably has to even start this rabbit hole, you know, to cut the veil to even think about Oren therapy. One probably has planted seeds of wanting to improve their life in any capacity at that point anyway. So as we drink more and more and can stay consistent with it, even regardless of the circumstances in one's life, and I'm speaking about myself very much, regardless of the binging and dark nights of the soul up and down for many years, and not knowing this much, this is, you know, now we're really interacting, but I've coasted with urine therapy for a long time, and it's always been the golden seed, the golden hope, and I've stuck with that out of my curiosity. and it's been a unraveling experiment and process for myself. And it's getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. I had a pretty rough ego. The ego was really attached to a lot of things, though at the same time being consistent with it, I'm naturally just dropping all this junk. It could be really fast for people, for whoever's watching this, or for myself, it'd taken a little longer, but still a few years is not a long time in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're also interested in breatharianism and physical immortality, or the possibilities, or even just living 150 years old. There's a couple of years is not bad.
No.
It's a very small time, whatever it may be, more than the average. So it's all worth it, and it's very cool of just like you just naturally lean that way, and you don't have to worry about diet. You're not even thinking, this is not a diet thing. This is just, it just cleans itself.
Yep. It
Anyway,
sounds like a way of
yeah.
being.
Yeah, it's a way of being.
Since we've done our way of doing.
Stop doing and start being. And start peeing.
Just pee yourself. You'll figure it out.
Pee here now.
Pee here now. Yes.
Pee here now.
Is it what John Lennon should have written that? That would have been great. Or Ram Dass, the Pee Here Now book.
Ram Dass, Pee Here Now.
Maybe someone will write it.
Yeah.
So we did it. We completed the class. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will, after I run errands and come back later today, I'll publish this on those. I think you've gotten the link to the last 3 classes from Rumble.
Yeah, you sent me messenger and text, I think.
Okay. I'm going to turn off the recording.